Oh, hi there. It's a time for another episode of Death Note. Last episode, Light got confronted by L. And L did a number on Light. And in the end, they both proclaimed that they are justice. Justice. So yeah, the chase is on. L wants to catch and kill Light, Kira. And Light wants to kill L. Probably doesn't care about catching him, just wants to kill him. Tried, didn't work. L was using a different face. That different face was murdered. For the enjoyment and terror of the onlookers, because it was live. So yeah, let's see what happens next between L and Light. And yeah, is the world becoming a better place now when Light is God and passing his divine judgment? Or is everything gonna degrade rapidly? We don't know. Maybe it will stay the same. So yeah, join me on the adventure of following Light and his adventures. Let's watch. Serial what? Murder special something? Serial Murder Special Investigations Headquarters. Okay. Cool. That's a lot of kanji. Just guys there, not the lady in sight. Why? Aren't ladies interested in catching serial murders? I'm sure there are some.
そのほとんどが野じ馬的なものばかりですが、キラを知っている、キラを見たという情報が14件あります。一つ一つ丁寧に対応して記録しましたが、報告書の通りで信憑性のあるものはなしと言っていいと思います。
Yeah.
それから他に自分がキラであると言ってきたものが21件あります。
Yeah, at some point you cannot just keep investigating all of these cases because people can just make shit up for funs and giggles.
その21人全員の調書を取ってファイルしています。では次、被害者。はい。
Nah, not very eventful.
今まで明らかになった被害者と思われる心臓麻痺死者のすべては日本で情報を得ることが可能だったものと。
I wonder if they're showing this so that we learn that the Japanese police themselves isn't that effective and that they need L in order to inspire them and, yeah, to help them solve this case. Then again, how do you investigate this normally?
そして、L から特に調査を要望されていた死亡推定時刻ですが。
Why are they so unhappy when they're referring to L? I guess because it's like, oh, somebody's telling that we cannot do our job correctly, but well, you cannot. So why be angry about it? If you need help, you need help. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying, but either you can do it or not.
午後8時から午前0時がその 68% です。
Because Light needs his beauty sleep. He did say that to Ryuk. Very interesting. Yeah, and probably police is not making any connections from this information. And L will be immediately like, this is the reason why it is occurring at this time. And I can narrow down the suspect even more because of this. I wonder what IQ L is having. I think 160 is genius. Again, being genius doesn't mean that you're a good person, but it just means that you have a high IQ score.
もしかしたらその死亡推定時刻から犯人は学生である可能性がありますね。
And they're so shocked. They didn't think of it.
犯罪者ばかり殺していることから犯人は彼なりの正義感に基づいて行動している。もしかしたら
Okay, that's a bit far-fetched. I have no idea how L would get to the conclusion that the person is trying to be God. That's a little bit a stretch. Just killing people because you think they're evil is one, but then proclaiming yourself God. How would you understand that Light is doing that? I don't think I could conclude that. It would make sense to me that the Kira is someone who is young or just not developed, evolved. They haven't matured mentally that much. And there can be many reasons for it.
これは非常に幼稚な心理と言わざるを得ません。
Yeah, we are definitely dealing with someone who has a very childish mentality. But then again, it's horrible when childish mentality equals wanting to kill everybody who's ever been mean to you or mean to anyone.
はい。
なんだ、松田。
これはキラを肯定する意味では絶対ありません。
The crime rate has decreased?
この数日世界的に、特に日本でですが、強盗以上の凶悪犯罪が激減しています。
As expected.
まあ、当たり前といえば。
It's like the end result is good. It's just the means getting there are not good. Therefore, the entire thing is not good because it's a very short-term solution. It's like eating bad now because I want yummy food now, and then dealing with obesity and all kind of health diseases later. Or eating good now, even though eating good now not so fun, and then not dealing with all of them. Yeah, this is similar. Oh, let's just execute everybody who's doing crime. Okay, crime drops. Are the people actually doing better? Are they enlightened suddenly because we're executing the bad ones? I don't think so. Yeah, short-term solutions. Yeah, they don't have much to go on.
報告はこんなところです。L。
お疲れ様です。
Actually, the police had nothing interesting to report, and the only interesting thing they did report was of L's suggestion or request about the time specifically when the killings are occurring and the percentage of it. So without L, even this information would have not been gained. They need L. Why are they so, not happy to work with him?
少し犯人に近づけた気がします。また注文で申し訳ないのですが、被害者犯、報道犯、インターネット犯に犠牲になった者が日本でどのような報道のされ方をしていたのかを。
He did say that he is interested in how Kira kills people. Not just that he wants to catch him and stop the killings because he deems it not correct, but also he's genuinely curious how it's being done. Oh, that good stretch.
随分とお疲れのようですね。
おお、悪いな。
In Japan, I think it's considered a compliment.
ここのところ徹夜続きだからな。
But sleep is very important.
犯罪が減ってるって発言。考えてみれば、みんな分かっていることなのに、すみません。
何を言ってるんだ。どんなことでも事実はどんどん発言しろ。人が言いにくそうなことならなおさらだ。
I don't think even this refers to last episode where it was said that nobody is saying the obvious things because they're trying to be polite in public or whatever. Here, they were requested to give their findings. And if the finding is crime rates decreased, then you'd speak about it. It doesn't matter how it will be perceived. It's facts. So I think this is pretty unnecessary comment, but okay.
もっとも犯罪を減らした功績を称えてキラを表彰しようなんて続いたら問題発言になったかもしれんがな。
If you still have some humor left after pulling a lot of all-nighters, that's a good sign.
さすがお兄ちゃん。
ってお前自分で理解できたのか？
うん、まあまあ。あ、お父さん帰ってきたみたい。
That being said, it would be cool if they explained things in school in a way where children could understand it. I could never understand it. And I would always ask my dad, and he could never understand it from my books. And so he would refer to how he would have solved it. And yeah, I learned how to solve, especially math equations, using unorthodox methods. And my results were correct. And luckily, I didn't have teachers that would give me 0 points simply because I'm not using the textbook correct approach, because the textbook approach sucks. There are better ways. And also other people couldn't really, how do you call it? Oh yeah, copy my homework. And they couldn't really do it because I was like, I'm using unorthodox methods. I'm the only one in this class that does it. You cannot copy my homework. The teacher will know. And then they're like, meh. I tried to explain them a little bit how they can solve it on their own. But yeah, so I could avoid some requests of homework copying simply because I couldn't understand the book and my dad couldn't understand the book. And so he taught me in the way he understood the problem. And I was like, yes, makes sense. It would be cool if they actually wanted to if the goal of schools would be to actually teach children. Not just to memorize things. All I learned in school was how to memorize things just for the test and then quickly delete my brain and memorize the next portion. I remember almost nothing of what was taught because it was not necessary or interesting. I did learn how to write and read in school, although I already knew a little bit that before. But besides that, I think I learned nothing there. I learned that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. We should stop measuring success by tests. Stop it. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's just a test. Calm down.
妹の勉強の面倒なんて余裕あるな。
Helping my sister with her homework, then murdering some criminals. An evening well spent.
おかえりなさい父さん。
ああ、ただいま。
Yeah, this dynamic. His dad is kind of trying to catch him, though. His dad is working against Kira, trying to catch Kira, and Light is Kira, so it's like, hi, Dad. You're in my way. Well, Light did say that he will eliminate anyone who's in his way. Also, Light said he wouldn't want to murder his family. Yeah, for how long? Ryuk's design is insane, and I love it.
ライト、勉強の方はどうだ？
まあまあだよ。
いつも通り学年トップ。自慢の兄です。はい。
自慢の息子です。はい。
父さん、疲れてるみたいだね。
ああ、詳しいことは言えないが、今回の事件は難しいからな。
I am this case. I do like that Light's sister and Light's mom is saying in Light's face that they're proud of him. I think that's good. Not that it
自分の
matters
パ
to
ソコン
him.
から何の痕跡も残さず、父さんのパソコンに侵入することさえできるよ。操作状況は常に把握できるんだ。
Hacker Light.
警察はすでに犯人は学生でないかと疑い始めているな。
Oh yeah, not police, L, and therefore police.
やばいんじゃないか、ライト。
Just watch me, bish.
死因を書くとさらに6分40秒。詳しい死の状況を記載する時間が与えられる。つまり、心臓麻痺という死因を書けば、その後に死の状況、あるいは死亡時刻なども書けるわけだ。また少し、リュウクを楽しませてあげられるかもね。
He wants to test the limits. But you know, everything he does will be very closely monitored by L. So if I was Light, I would be extremely careful how I am testing the limits so it can never come back to bite me. Because L already concluded that the first murder that Light did was a guinea pig, an experiment, just testing. So Light should now test other things very, very carefully. Very thought out. Well, look at him. His complexion is better. His eyes are better. Light seems happier. All is good in the world. He finally has a purpose and a place. Sad that he didn't have it before. Prisons should be a terrifying place. It's already probably not very nice there, but probably the criminals are also caught up that, you know, criminals are being executed by some Kira person. And yeah, you're just sitting there in your cell and you don't know if you're just gonna be murdered or not. Awesome. Look at me, I'm such a honorable student and what is it? Exemplary person. I'm helping my little sister, I'm doing good at school, I'm smiling when I'm kicking the ball, and I'm killing murderers. Ha ha ha. Just murderers, yeah. Anyone who has committed a serious crime. I don't think that person's gonna get a hold of themselves anytime soon. Yeah, dying from a heart attack probably doesn't feel too good. By the way.
何また昨日も心臓麻痺の犠牲者が23人
Just 23?
はい。おとといの犠牲者も23人。きっかり1時間おきに1人ずつ。
Aha, but the every hour killings are happening after L said that there's a specific time frame when the killings are happening and therefore it must be a student. And now suddenly after that fact, the murders are happening every hour as if telling L, oh, I might also not be a student. What do you do now? It's such a childish play though. I don't think L will perceive it as anything else but just that.
いや、学校2日休むなんて誰でも。
そうではない。
Correct.
確かに学生の線は薄くなりました。が、キラが言いたいことはそんなことではない。キラはこう言っているんです。自分は死の時間を自由に操れるのだと。しかし妙だ。
Well, yeah, he can freely control the time of death, but also he can show that he is not a student necessarily, right? He doesn't have to kill in a specific time frame.
キラは学生かもしれないという疑いが生じていた。
Yes.
それを否定するような殺人が多かった。
Yes. This is the point I made earlier. When Light changes anything, he needs to be hyper aware that it can and will be used against him. Because L is not just looking at the end result, he is trying to figure out why the change of pattern. So, and if the change occurred exactly after he concluded that with the police, that Light might be that Kira might be a student, and then suddenly the pattern changes, very specifically not like the student pattern, then that also can lead L to figure out that maybe Light has access to police. Right? So Light needs to be really, really careful. And I think at this point, he simply doesn't understand what an epic opponent L is. Light thinks he has the upper hand because he has a magical death note, but L is not somebody to take lightly, so.
キラは警察の情報を知っているということか。
It's a possibility.
焦ってると思うよ。
Didn't look very
こういう
panicky.
時のためにわざと残してある犯罪者がまだ50人はいる。
ほう。
L は警察関係者を疑い始めている。
Okay, at least you are aware of it.
キラは捜査本部の情報を得る手段を持っている。
Ah, or is Light trying to divide police and L? Not that police is helping a lot. L could do it on his own, although he does need the people and he needs the invisibility. Okay, cool. So Light understands, at least to some degree.
キラの本当の狙いは何だ？奴は何をしようとしている？
I think L just, in Japanese, assumed that Kira is a man. I think it's a male thing. When you use that word, I would have to investigate. I guess Kira's behavior is more calculative now and childish, and I think there would be a nuance, some kind of different nuance if it was a woman. But yeah, it can be sensed a lot of times. So yeah, interesting. I would also conclude that Kira is a man, probably. There's nothing specifically feminine about anything that he's done so far.
わからないな。学生の線を消すより警察に精通していると思われる方がよっぽど不利じゃないか？
その答えも L を探し出し始末するためだ。
どういうことだ？
この人間社会で本当に信頼し合ってる人間なんてほんのわずかさ。
Sad.
それが警察という枠の中で。
Yeah, he's trying to split them.
信頼関係なんて最初からないに等しい。顔も名前もわからない奴を信用できるか？ L は警察を調べ。警察
Yeah, so that's actually smart. Light is trying to cause more problems and spending of resources so that L and police will not work together because they're suspicious of each other, and they will not only investigate Kira but also each other, and therefore they will be less effective in catching Kira. That's kind of smart, but still I think it's I don't know if it's a good idea to give such clues.
警察が L を突き止める。そして僕が L を消す。
Well, yeah, but if police gets information on L, then... Well, L probably will tell them that most likely Kira has access to police, so they would also not tell any details about L in their files that are now being hacked by someone.
見ての通り、辞表です。命が惜しいからですよ。L の推理では、キラは超能力のようなもので直接手を下さず人を殺せる。テレビでキラに私を殺してみろと、スタンドプレイまがいのことをしてみせたじゃないですか。でも L は自分の名前どころか顔すら出していない。
If Light hadn't attempted to kill L, the fake L, then police wouldn't have to be so worried because until this point, Light only killed criminals, but now he will kill anyone who is trying to catch him. So yeah, this is a very reasonable thing to do, especially if you have a family at home. And even without that, maybe you're just not willing to sacrifice your life for this case in particular. That's a very reasonable thing. If you are not willing to risk everything, then resign.
その通りでした。犠牲者は全員日本の報道で顔が確認できたものでした。
I don't think this exact scene would happen in reality with them being like slamming hands down, like yeah, 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 exposition, but yeah, yeah.
まずこの問題の解き方の発想ですが。
What do you smell? What do you see? What do you see? Apples? Ryuk is on a mission. What do you see? What is it? What is it, boy? Ah. And he sensed that. Very handy having a Ryuk on your shoulder, kind.
警察の中だけでもキラの捜査情報を得られた者は141人。しかしこの141人の中、あるいはその身近なところに。
Yeah, I think this is why it's not a good idea for Light to reveal the connection to police to L, is that instead of every student in this entire region of Japan, now there's only 141 people and people closest to them, so their families. That could be Kira. That's like such a ridiculous reduction of potential targets. I think this is a bad call because even if people resign and maybe L is left alone, there are still fewer people to investigate now. I don't think this is a smart choice by Light. It seemed like that on surface, but now that we know how few people work there, and with a number this small, you can investigate every single person, every single police person and their entire family. So, not good for Light.
ちょっといいか。
極力外では話しかけるなって言っただろ。
But it's important.
何度言えばわかる。
じゃあ一方的に話すぞ。俺はライトが嫌いじゃないし、ある意味最高のやつにノートを拾われたと思っている。なぜならノートの最後かライトの最後を見届けなくてはならないからだ。しかし俺はライトの味方でも L の味方でもない。
Aren't you slightly on Light's side because it's more interesting if Light survives?
もっとも同居人としての口出しはするがな。だから今から俺が言うことはキラの味方として言うのではなく、俺自身が気持ち悪いから言うんだが。
Yeah, you're being followed.
ずっとお前をつけている人間がいる。
By a person, 人間, a human. You're being investigated.
目障りなんだよ、ここんとこ。
Well, it's a horrible feeling when you're walking home at night and you feel that somebody is walking behind you, and you can never know what their intentions are. Yeah, it's just, and it's worse when you're starting to walk faster, and then they also start walking faster. Then it's so extra terrifying. I would typically have my keys in my pocket, and I would put the keys between my fingers so I could punch them, but you know, who knows if I would actually manage to do that. But I was always so relieved when I could close the door of my apartment building. Scary, man. But I've also read Reddit posts where it's the other person that's walking behind the first person, and they also feel freaked out because whatever they do, the person in front of them will be freaking out. So it's a horrible situation. I guess you could simply say, "Hi, I'm not a murderer," but that's also suspicious. How do you get out of it? How can you, as the second person, make it clear to the first person that you are not gonna harm them in any way? Yeah, who knows?
常に見られている気分だ。
それは邪魔だな。なるべく早く消してやるよ、リュウク。エルが警察を疑い出したということか。警察を調べるのなら相当の人数のはずだ。仮に50人で調べたとしても、僕がキラだと疑われる可能性はまずない。
Well, but you're connected to your dad, so that's why they're investigating you.
まずはその尾行者の名前だ。それが分かれば全て処理できる。
いいことを教えてやろう。死神とデスノートを持った人間とでは2つの大きな違いがある。
Ryuk always looks so insane, and also the way he stands right now is like awesome.
僕が知るわけないだろう。
I'm not interested.
今日は随分おしゃべりだな、リュウク。
死神は人間の寿命をもらっているからだ。
寿命をもらう？
だからよほど怠けてない限り、頭を拳銃でぶち抜かれようと、心臓をナイフで刺されようと死神は死なない。ライトがデスノートに人間の名前を書いても、ライトの寿命は伸びない。
That would be OP otherwise.
死神は人間の顔を見るだけで、その人間の名前がわかる。なぜだかわかるか？
It's the Shinigami eyes.
そいつの名前と寿命が顔の上に見えるんだ。
Would be very handy, Light.
もちろん、今俺の目にはライトの名前と寿命が見えている。
It's always frustrating that I cannot figure out how to decode the numbers to see Light's lifespan, because then we would know in this moment when Light will die.
に直すと何年かはっきりわかる。
Also, is it fixed, or does the lifespan changes according to the decisions the person makes, or is it already including all the decisions?
だから死神は殺すやつの名前がわからなくて困ることはないし。
But still, they need to look at the person. So even if Light had the eyes of a Shinigami, he would still have to look at L in person.
そして死神は自分の落としたノートを拾った人間の目を死神の目にしてやることができる。死神の目玉の値段は
Half the lifespan.
残りの寿命の半分だ。
残りの寿命の半分。
Yeah, but how long do you expect yourself to live, Light? The path you're on will probably lead to your early execution anyway. But I think Light would like to create his perfect world and then to live for a long time. But then again, wouldn't he be bored living for a long time? I don't know. I think having such eyes would be very handy if your goal is the same as Light's. Because if you just want to create the perfect world, does it even matter if you live? Can you just create it and then die? Doesn't it continue on its own, or people will realize that nobody's punishing them and then the murders will happen? Have you then made a difference at all? I guess Light needs to be alive to oversee his kingdom. Still, at some point, his lifespan will end, and then what will happen to the world that he created?
キラとエルのどっちの味方もしないから、僕の殺したい人間の名前が見えても教えない。リュウクの力を借りることもできない。そう言いたいんだな。
なあ。
I like that it's the shadow that speaks.
もう一度言うぞ。残りの寿命の半分で死神の目にできる。
Having the eyes now would help Light kill the person who is investigating him, but it wouldn't directly help him with L just yet. So if Light wants to preserve his lifespan, it's probably smart to not trade the eyes just now. But it should be very smart to trade them once he is in proximity to L.
さあ、どうする？ライト。
He will not do it. Oh, that's it. Ending on a tease. Yeah, very interesting deal. And it seems that, yeah, it goes together very well, Death Note and the Shinigami Eyes. The only problem is that you need to be in proximity of the person you want to eliminate to see their name. But yeah, again, it will not help him eliminate L at this point, because nobody has seen L, not even the police. Interesting. Quite the deal. The eyes would help do things more easily, but then you don't live long enough to accomplish your goal. Or if you accomplish it, maybe you die very soon after, and then there is nobody who oversees the world you created. Then again, Light will die at some point anyway, even if he lives to 100. Would he then invent a system that passes his legacy down somehow? Yeah. It would be, if Light could get the lifespans of everybody he kills, then he could live forever. Plus, then he could take the eyes, because it doesn't matter. He'll just kill 100,000 more people, and it doesn't matter that his lifespan is halved. It's like you live 1,000,000 years or half of it, and you can always increase that. So yeah, this was episode 3 of Death Note. Things are slowly building. I just wish from Light that he analyzed things a bit more and broader to save himself from a lot of potential problems down the line, because L is quite the cookie. You know, he is very, 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 very focused and on the smallest details and changes in pattern. And his conclusions are extremely accurate. Somehow he's able to see a lot of data and conclude the correct things. Obviously, we know what is correct because we also see Light's perspective, but that's quite some deduction skills he has. And if Light was not using a supernatural device to kill people, I think this wouldn't even be a challenge for L. It simply is a challenge because of the Death Note involved. They both, Light and L, both will have to stretch their minds a lot to catch each other. So yeah, hope you enjoy this and have a good night, good morning, good afternoon, good luncheon, and see you. Bye.